In BMX racing, racers tend to enjoy improvements, enjoy progressions, and enjoy success until they have reached a plateau. At that point, where do they go? Where do you go? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about how goal setting can create awesome results and get you past that sticking point so you can continuously improve and enjoy the satisfaction or success that you're looking for in BMX racing. Let's discuss. All right, guys, how you guys doing tonight? Welcome to another Monday night edition of BMX Coach Live. I'm your host, Greg Romero, three-time Olympic coach. So glad for you guys to be here. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be your coach. Hey, listen, if you guys get an opportunity, make sure that you guys share this video, but more importantly, make sure you like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit the bell notification. That way you guys get notified when I go live or when I post videos. I see you guys in the chat warming up. I see a bunch of people coming in. Today, can we talk about goal setting? We haven't talked about goal setting in a while, in a minute. I know that the new season is upon us for the most of us here in America. And at the same time, it's time to get closure on 2020 and start gaining clarity, right? Gaining clarity on what you guys want to accomplish in 2021. Would that be helpful? Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyways, in the live chat, we have Drew Polk, good evening. Random says, what's up? AJ the Speedster BMX, hello. Jacob James. Dylan says hello. JP has a question for me, and we're off and running to the races. Hey, you know what? First off, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Looking forward to the new year. And yeah, really enjoying the weather here in San Diego. It is 80 degrees today, on the shortest day of the year. Today is winter solstice, and also it's been an awesome day because really from an astrology standpoint, Jupiter and Saturn are in conjunction, right? Okay, well, going a little bit esoteric there, but yeah, it's been awesome. I've had a wonderful day. Hope you guys are doing well. And if you guys are in New Zealand, good morning to you, or good afternoon. If you guys are in Europe, you guys are probably in the middle of your morning. If you guys are on the East Coast, good evening. So, I wanted to talk about goals. I think goal setting is really, really important. And, at the end of the day, there's all kinds of different beliefs when it comes to goal setting. Some people believe that creating goals is absolutely important for them to gain clarity, to create intention, to have an aim. Others believe, you know what, I don't need goals. I'm just going to see how it goes. That's cool too. Other guys also believe, high performance guys, it's really weird, not necessarily in sport, but I would say in business, there's a guy that I follow. He doesn't believe in creating goals because he thinks that you're going to hit them. And if you hit them, it's like, well, you should have probably created bigger goals. Well, I don't disagree with that. And he's absolutely 100% correct to himself. Me personally, I work well when I have a direction. I work well when I have an aim. I work well when I have goals lined up to ensure that I'm staying on the path and making sure that will help me spiral up to hit my target. And I think for the most part, that's really important, right? In cycling, there's a guy by the name of Justin Williams. I was talking to an old road racing teammate. I used to race road for about 5 years there, and I was doing criterium racing. And we kind of took it seriously. I raced the equivalent of a veteran masters class, and we were talking about this guy who just, he got his head together, he got his shit together, and now he's sponsored by Specialized, and he's turning down sponsorship money because it's like, look, I got way too many eyes on me and my team in this thing that I've built, and he's just doing fantastic. I mean, if you're sponsored by Specialized and you're making tons of money doing that, that is great because it's so hard to make money in the sport. Anyways, we just kind of spoke about like, man, where did this guy come from? Because I would say 5 years ago, he was kind of off the back. He was kind of dabbling as far as being a pro, but once he started to focus, right? My friend said once he started focusing, he blossomed and took off. And so, the story behind that at the end of the day is that, my quick deletion on that, I was like, dude, he found clarity, right? And it reminded me when I first turned pro, my first year of pro, it was like I created goals, right? I wanted to make every main. I had a goal. I wanted to beat every single pro, right? I didn't care if it happened in a moto, a semi, or a main. The second year, my sophomore year, for the most part, I struggled straight up because I had no goals. I had no aim. I had no direction. I had no intent behind my training. Don't get me wrong. I was showing up to races. I was going to the track. I was going to the gym. I was going to the trails. I was doing, alternative training. And I was struggling. It was really, really frustrating. And I couldn't understand, what was going on. The year prior, my rookie year, I had an awesome year. I won like 3 AA pro races my first rookie season, won the Rookie Pro of the Year award, won the World Cup, the Pro World Cup as my first pro win was a Pro World Cup in Burbank over here in Los Angeles, Hollywood. And I was enjoying success just because I had an aim, right? I wanted to beat everyone. And more importantly, I believed I belonged. Nonetheless, I really, really struggled that second year. And then it wasn't until towards the end of my sophomore year, my second year as a pro, I started to gain clarity. I was like, you know what, man, like I got to start making mains. I got to start performing. What does performing and making mains look like? I gained clarity. I started to show up to the races with intent. I started showing up to the local track practice with intent, showing up to the gym with intent, and started training and preparing and showing up to the races with intent because I had clarity. And it's funny because once I gained clarity, I actually went to the Grands that year, and I was the first, and still to this day, I believe, the only pro to win every 20-inch pro class available. That's right. Coach G here dominated the Grands in AA Pro. Won AA Pro, won the Friday night race. See, back then they used to have the Friday night race, which was like a pro spectacular, and you would win some big prize, and sometimes it was like a guitar. It was a big TV. In this case, it was a big TV back then. It was like, TVs were, big, humongous TVs were a big thing back then. Today, they're just flat screens. But anyways, won that. Won Pro Open. Yeah, we used to have a class called Pro Open, and then I won the AA Pro race. So I won everything I entered, and that was because I written my goals down. I wrote them down every day. I trained with intent every day, and lo and behold, it manifested. And so I wanted to share with you some of the stuff that has worked for me year after year. It's worked with me not only as an athlete, as a coach, as an entrepreneur in business, but more importantly, helping out my Olympic athletes achieve their goals, achieving Olympic berths, achieving Olympic medals, achieving world championships, and more importantly, helping out my athletes in my Winter Circle program achieve their goals. So what do you guys say? If I could share that with you, would that be helpful? All right. I think first and foremost, we could start everywhere and anywhere. I have a private page in Facebook. It's called BMX Training Official. If you guys might as well check that out. I don't spend a whole lot of time on Facebook, but I do go on this page from time to time. And I actually went in there and said, hey, curious, what is your goal accomplishing strategies and process? And I thought there was a couple of them in here that were interesting. A guy named Steven, he's part of the BMXtraining.com membership. He says, be specific and be consistent. And that's really simple. And I love that. Another guy says, first, you will need to teach me about it. Then I can map out a strategy and process. Okay, we'll discuss that for sure. Will Carroll says, set specific goals, see myself accomplishing them in my mind, work towards them incrementally. I really like that because he hit two things that really hit close to the heart, which is be specific and also see them accomplishing them, seeing the goals manifesting in his mind, right? Like he created a picture, and we'll get to that. I think that's really key. And then someone else brought up a really good one, which I was, he kind of beat me to it. Tom Vidden says, a specific long-term goal with smaller goals in between that show progress. In the new year, I'll be asking my riders what they want to achieve at a local and territory level and how we're going to facilitate that. And then he says, more importantly, partner in the goal setting, and he used the SMART acronym. specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive, right? And so that being said, I think we should definitely discuss that. And then I'm going to give you some different tools on how you can integrate being specific and writing your goals down. Where does goals stand in terms of your timeline from here until when you want those goals to be accomplished? And then more importantly, we'll go a little bit more chunked up. We'll create a goal hierarchy in terms of how it rolls out, where current goal setting in the foreseeable future actually works in the far future, right? Creating far future goals is scary. I remember a long time ago when I was going through what I would call, I'm not going to confuse you guys, but basically I would call it kind of a pseudo life coaching, class that I was taking to, become a life coach, but more importantly, integrate this into my teachings as far as athletes and yourself is concerned. And one of the questions that asked me that scared me was, hey, what is your 20-year goal? And I'm thinking, holy smokes, man, a 20-year goal? Man, please forgive me. I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing in the next 20 days, right? And so it's scary, but it's also awesome when you do have clarity, when you do know what you're going to do, say in 20 years. And you can always adjust what you're going to do. The whole point is to create an aim, and then whatever that long-term goal is, right? The long-term target, if you will, then, season after season, right? And we can create these different goals, short-term goals, right? And start knocking them down. And as we're knocking them down, they're basically our key performance indicators to indicate that we're on the path and that we're spiraling up towards the aim that we created 20 years down the road. And it doesn't have to be 20 years. It could be 5 years. So before I get ahead of myself, we'll start with the basics, because I think that, from a rudimentary standpoint, from a fundamental standpoint, that it's important for you guys to know how to create a simple goal. Okay, so you guys ready? So number one, we're going to go with the SMART acronym, right? And we're going to start with the word S, and that's going to be specificity is key here. And so, you have to be specific in terms of what you want. And so, for example, many of you guys may want to get number one. Some of you guys want to get top 20. I have clients that I work with and I challenge them all the time, especially in my Winner Circle program. What are your goals? And they'll just say, I don't know, I just want a NAG number. Okay, well, which number do you want? I don't know, I want to be in the top 20. Okay, do you want to be in the top 20, or do you want to be in the top 10, or do you want to be in the top 5 or the top 3? The choice is yours. And then all of a sudden I challenge them and they start realizing, wow, you know what? I wasn't clear. And at the same time, I'm showing them that they're holding back in terms of creating bigger goals, right? Listen, you only live this life once. The new season, season after season, sure, you get many seasons, but the season that's in front of you is the best season for you to learn and to progress and to challenge yourself. So why not create a big goal? But more importantly, make it specific. And I would say, as you're making it specific, it needs to be a performance goal in terms of, identifying an end result. So is it a number on the plate? Is it is it a number of wins? Is it a specific race? It has to be something specific like that, right? It can't be an objective like, oh, I just want to be faster, right? Oh, I just want to be, I just want to have fun. Okay, well, you can show up to the local track and have fun and smile and goof off, and you've achieved your goal. Now what? Because at that point, if you're not specific, then, then it's kind of like being on a ship with no direction. I always talk to some of my clients from time to time about how if you're specific in a direction, right, you got to look at it as a sailor setting sea. The sailor that sets sea needs to have a direction. He needs to put down a GPS point. So if I were to set sea in San Diego and say I want to go to Japan and check out the 2021 Olympics, I better get going now, especially if I'm going to start paddling. But if I have a direction, then I know which way to go. I could start taking action, get in the boat, maybe grab a map, maybe grab a GPS, program it, and start going, right? Start taking action. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time doing research. Sometimes it's best for us to take action. You know, with people that want to lose weight, the problem with that is that they don't take action. They start doing research. Oh, what kind of diet should I do? Should I hire this guy? Should I hire that guy? No, you know what? Start taking action. You know, create a simple diet. Remove sugar, remove fat, go low carb, eat more vegetables, lean protein, you know, if you're not vegan, and start taking action now. And as you're taking action, then you could go ahead and start integrating new things that you may find will work, that will help you keep you on the path. Now, I also talked about how the sailor that had the GPS. Well, let's talk about the sailor who doesn't have a GPS and doesn't set a coordinate and just says, you know what, I'm just going to launch the sea and just see where it takes me. You know, I just want to launch the ship and have fun. Well, man, I'll tell you what, the waters do get rough out there, right? You might run into pirates. You might run into rough waters. You might run into a big ass storm that's going to knock your ship over. So you need to have a direction so you can navigate. And when you have a GPS point, you can navigate better, and it's much more better. Even if you were to run into a storm, listen, it's feedback. Okay, well, you know what? There's a storm coming up. We need to navigate and go around it and then get back on path, get back on course. So being specific kind of gives you that aim. It gives you clarity. Okay. Number 2, is it measurable? All right. What can be measured can be accomplished. So for example, well, if you want to get a NAG number 1 plate, you will know when you achieved it when you're standing on the podium and they hand you a NAG number 1 plate. If you want to win the World Championships in 2021, you will know when you achieved it when you crossed the line in first. It's measurable. It's objective. You know what you're doing. If you want to win 6 races next year, or for some of you newer and younger riders, please forgive me because I know there's a lot of you guys here. You know, maybe a goal of yours is to turn intermediate, to go from novice to intermediate or intermediate to expert. It's measurable. You know what you guys need to do. And please forgive me. I don't know. It's been a long time since I was a beginner, but I was a beginner. And I don't know what it was for you. I don't know what it is for you today, but I know, back then I think I needed I needed 6 wins as a novice. They called it beginner back then. I needed 6 wins, and then I was an intermediate. Then from there I needed 10 intermediate wins, or 5 intermediate national wins in an effort to turn expert. It was measurable. I knew what I needed to do. And so if you could measure it, better. It's so much better. Now, number 3 would be, is it attainable? Is it achievable? Okay. Now, it's funny. I do get some weird inquiries from time to time. I have a winner circle program, and it's really, really, I've gotten it to the point where I've reserved it for experts, because I'll get guys that will come in with goals that are just not achievable, not at the time being. I've had people come in and say, as a new rider, saying they want to go to the Olympics and they want to win the gold medal. And it's like, okay, well, at your age, this is what we do. This is how I do it. At your age, and also with the time that you have, is there anybody that has won an Olympic medal that you could replicate that started when you started and is where you're at now? Because then if not, then, listen, I'm not the type of person to say that it's not possible, because I really truly believe anything is possible, believe that. However, I also do believe in modeling. It's kind of like when Roger Bannister is the man that achieved and broke the 4-minute mile. And once he did that, I believe within the next 30 to 60 days, you guys might have to Wikipedia that. I believe it was like 20 to 30 more people started breaking the 4-minute and 1 mile marker, because they had someone they could model. So it's important to, when you identify your goal, is it achievable? In other words, can you find someone else that's in the same situation that you are that has achieved the same success? Because guess what? They have a plan that's proven. They have a path that's proven. So it's important for you to find someone in your situation that you can replicate, that you can model. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And at the same time, there's nothing wrong with being the first person to break the 4-minute mile. So we did specific, measurable, achievable, attainable, and then the third one is going to be R for realistic, right? Realistic's kind of like achievable. So what I like to do is I change that R and make it responsible. Is it responsible? And what does that mean, Greg? Responsible. Responsible means at the end of the day, is it contextual? It's like, Greg, you're throwing big words at me now, but contextualize. Is it contextualized? In other words, is it for you or is it for somebody else? Are you looking to win this for your family, or is it for somebody else? Is it for you or and you only? Listen, you have to contextualize your goal. I had a my first athlete who won who won an Olympic medal back in 2008, a girl by the name of Jill Kittner. She straight up made the goal for her father that passed away. So she transcended herself, right? She was responsible. She contextualized it. I have another girl that recently got NAG 1 and Cruiser this year, one of my Winner Circle clients, and she was able to be responsible with her goal, not make it about herself. Of course, there's a little bit of for yourself. There's nothing wrong with making it for yourself. I want it for you, but it's better when you make it for other people as well. Is it for other people that you want to inspire? And so she made it to where if she accomplished this goal, it was also for the girls that she coached. She has a group of girls that she coached. She transcended herself. Transcending yourself is like you're making it more than yourself. So being responsible with your goal is key, because if it's just for you and your ego, and it's like, you know what, I just want to be able to do this so I can show them that I'm fast. Listen, that's not good enough, man. It needs to be stronger than that. And I'll tell you why. The person with the most purpose, with the most intent, is going to be the one that's going to be committed, recommitting every day, doing it, getting the work done to achieve the goal, right? It's just like when one becomes a parent, they've transcended themselves as a person. Now they're living for their kid, right? That's an example. So transcending yourself is key. You could do that even if you're a young viewer, like some of these guys here, Jacob James, and some of you younger kids. Drew Polk, he's 17, he's going to be 18, he's racing a 17-20 class. And Drew, like you're racing a tough class, man. You're going to need to find a way to transcend that. Is how can you use your platform of achieving a goal to help out others? Okay, I simplified it for you guys. All right, is the feed working? Because I just saw it kind of like jitter. All right, so last but not least, time. T is for time. And, more importantly, the time is key, because you need to get some feedback in terms of your goal, right? You don't want to push your goal. You don't want to push your goals. You don't want to be like resetting the goal, it's kind of like playing a video game and you get 3 lives and you squandered all those lives. It's like, we'll just hit restart and start over. No, man, like it's important for you to create a date on when you want to achieve it. So for example, if you want to turn intermediate, or you want to turn expert, or you want to win your first race, when do you want to do that by? If you just say, you know what, I'll just do it when I do it, then it's going to be really hard for you to maintain motivation, or have that willpower, or have that deep inner drive, that ambition, which is more than willpower, right? So create a time, create a date, and when you write these goals, it's really important for you guys to write them as if you already accomplished it. So for example, I'm not, back when I was 22 and I tripled at the Grands as a pro, I didn't say I'm going to win the grands. I just put I'm winning the grands. And I already saw it. When I said that, I was like, okay, I already see it. I already know how it's going to happen. It's like my dad's going to be there. He's going to be proud of me. It's important to get the submodalities, the picture, right? So you want to, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you want to write these goals down as if you already achieved it. And you're saying, well, why do I want to do that? I mean, is that going to take away from my ambition, my passion, my drive to achieve it if I've already achieved it? Like where am I going to get my ambition, Greg? Trust me, you're going to have it. You're programming your unconscious mind, and you're basically programming it just kind of like how they do programming for apps on a phone, right? You have to program your unconscious mind, because if you never achieved it before, then how will you know when you do achieve it? It's kind of like if I were to set C, if I don't put the GPS in, it's cool today, right? Like back in the day, Magellan, when they set C, it's like they just went out, but they had an intent to find land. It's much easier today. It's much more efficient for you guys to get a picture to input that GPS coordinate, program your unconscious mind, and then boom, start taking action. Okay. All right. So where am I? Because, my mind's all over the place, but basically we've gotten you to write down a goal, be specific. Okay. And I want it to be specific in terms of performance goal. I don't want you to write it down. I don't want you to write down, I want to be faster. That's not good enough. I don't want you to write down to have fun. Look, everyone can have fun. I'm just going to go with the flow. Look, if you do that, you're going to be gone in 24 months. Your average BMX racer here in America will only last about 24 months. The guys that are still around, like myself, I've accomplished goals season after season after season. The people that are doing successful and that are enjoying success or enjoying satisfaction in life and work, business, they're creating goals every year, right? They're creating goals every year. And without a goal, you're just going to kick back and just see where life takes you. Hey man, if you want to do that, I'm cool with you. That's fine. That's absolutely awesome for you. And maybe this video isn't for you. And maybe you can give it a thumbs down. But for the rest of us that are looking for success, that are looking for satisfaction, that want an aim, that want direction, that want clarity, that want to live a life with intent, that want to race our BMX bikes with intent, that want to get on the track with purpose, to have more than just willpower, to have that ambition to show up, right? And recommit. Those are the guys that are going to enjoy success. Connor Fields, man. I mean, he posted a video after he won the Elite AA Pro #1 title in Tulsa. Back in 2002, he struggled. He didn't even make the main. But season after season, he didn't take his eyes off the prize. He had the vision. You have to be visual. You have to have a vision for it. And these goals are going to help you create that vision. Now, speaking of vision, once you get it specific, once you've gotten it to where you can measure it, it's achievable, that you can model someone that's achieved it, that it's realistic, but more importantly, that it's responsible, right? That it's for you, and maybe it's for your family, maybe it's for people that you want to inspire. For me, I do this channel because my business goals are number one, to help people like you to thrive, experience your potential, and sustain it. That's why I'm here. And at the same time, I'm also here for the younger and newer riders, so you guys could stick around the sport longer. But more importantly, getting back to this, when do you want to achieve it by? And I would create the goal within the first, make it happen within 12 months. And if you could create a goal within a shorter span of time, to say 12 weeks, even better. Okay? Even better. So once you do that, then you want to be able to get a picture. And I ask my athletes, I ask my guys in my Winner Circle program, how will you know when you have accomplished it? This is key. And you will know, all right? You will know, it has to be as if you already accomplished it. It can't be, well, I'll know when I've won. I know when I've won, when I've made the main and I'm on the gate. No, that's not good enough. You have to be past the finish line. If not, you got to be in the stands and giving high fives, and people are telling you awesome things, and you're getting all these feelings. So it's important for you to get the picture as if you already accomplished it. And, I ask my athletes, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Really get those feelings. And then once you get those feelings, those are the feelings that you need to live in every day for the most part, right? You want to play that picture every night. If not, you want to write it down. You want to write it down in a journal. Write it down. Second step is to write down your goal as if you already accomplished it. Get the picture. And then again, the second step is to write it down in a journal every night. Okay. It's key to write down your goals at night because I'm going to go esoteric on you, and please forgive me. Your brain is going into a theta state, a sleep state. It's the most suggestible state for you to program your unconscious mind. And why is that important? Well, throughout the day, your brain is it's in higher frequencies, right? Your conscious mind's in the way, and when you could slow down that conscious mind and slow down those brain waves and bring them down to the sleep state, to theta state. Now, you reach 2 opportunities for theta state: before you go to bed and right when you wake up. Those are 2 awesome opportunities to program your unconscious mind. That's a great opportunity for you to write down your goals and to bring up the picture as if you already accomplished it. Write it down, close the book, go to sleep. Your unconscious mind is going to go to work for you when you're sleeping. Believe me, it happens. And more importantly, what I would do is I would also write down what you're going to do the next day that's going to support you achieving the goal that you want. Okay. That way, when you wake up, you hit the ground running. You've already set the intention the night before. You wake up, you know what to do. You're not going to be distracted, right? Cool. Are there any questions as it pertains to goal setting? That was a long-winded talk. There's so much more than I could provide, and one of the things I want to ensure that I give you before I check the questions here in the live chat, and there's so many of you guys that are showing up. Thank you so much. The purpose of a goal, again, is to be definitive in the present moment. You have to be knowing what you're doing, especially if you're a BMX racer. If you're going to get into the car, put your bike in the car, grab all your equipment and show up, what are you there for, right? Do you have intent when you show up? I think that's key. When you guys go outside to do your sprints, what are you doing it for? If you're just doing it to be fast, anyone can be faster, right? Anyone could get fast after a set of sprints. Challenge yourself. But it's important for you to create goals because it's going to give you feedback, right? It's going to give you feedback as to where you're at. And so that being said, it's also important for you to understand that goals it's part of your path. So BMXers today, if you're the new intermediate and you're looking to, become an Olympian, I have European kids that are awesome, right? They're 13, 14 years old and they have unbelievable skills. And they already know what they want. They want to go to the Olympics and they already know their path. Well, how do you know, what do you need to do to get there? We strategize and it's like, look, I got to make the development squad. Okay. So now we're working on making the development squad for them. I'm mapping out a process for these guys and they're doing the work. And despite the fact that COVID's happening, they're able to do the work because they have vision. They have an aim. So COVID doesn't bother them. They stay motivated because they have an aim despite the fact they're not racing. For the rest of us, when we have COVID and races are canceling, we don't know what the next race is going to be. And, we tend to get depressed because it's like we identify with, showing up to the track and being part of this, this process that feeds us. And so the guys that understand who they're trying to become, who have an aim, they're able to have more flexibility on the path. It's just like someone setting C, right? And they know I'm going to jump on a ship and head to Japan. Okay. I have an aim. If I were to, paddle there, it's going to take me probably a year to get there, right? Just like it may take someone like Drew Polk a year to get to NAG number 1 in the 17 to 20 class. And so with the aim, as I take action, right? The key is taking action. I'm going to run into things that are going to challenge my willpower, right? It's going to challenge my motivation. It's going to get stormy. You know what? Screw this. The waters are way too choppy. I'm going to turn around and head back to San Diego. And with an aim, when you have it configured, when you've contextualized it, when you've made it not only for yourself, but you made it for others, you're going to stay on the path. You're going to be able to navigate the path, right? You're going to get feedback. Okay, well, let's not go there. Let's make sure we head more towards Hawaii rather than Guam, right? That's just an example. I hope that's making sense. But yeah, those that have an aim are able to get clear on their goals, and those that have goals have a purpose, and those that have a purpose have the intent. And those that have the intent are going to get more out of their training, going to get more out of the preparation. They're going to get more out of their racing. And those that have intent and have a purpose and have an aim and have goals are going to have more than just motivation, because motivation is fleeting. Anyone can get motivated. I can get you guys motivated right now to go jump out and do sprints, right? You can do it. But are you going to be able to do it every day, commit to it every day, but more importantly, recommit, right? Recommit every day to take action, to do the little things every day to ensure that you're on the right path to accomplishing your goals. All right, that was a lot. Let's see what's going on in the chat. What questions do you guys have for me? Here you go, AJ, he has a comment here. Make meaningful goals that will actually make you a better rider. Don't just say I'm going to win, insert big race here. Add smaller goals in between to help show yourself the progress you made. AJ, I really appreciate that. I agree with you. And can I, if I may, can I add a little bit more to that? Because I love where you're going with that. I'd like to change what you said, because you said don't just say I'm going to win. I think that's good, right? I agree with you there. And then you say add smaller goals. Now those smaller goals, those are key performance indicators to ensure that you're on the path. And I would call those more objectives, right? Hey, what are the objectives? Like when you create a goal, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is helping me. When you create a goal, and it's helping our audience, when you create a goal, you want to be able to identify what resources you have, right? What do you have now that will enable you to achieve the goal that you want? And then on the flip side of that coin, you're going to find out what resources that you need, right? Do you need a better gate? Do you need a faster first straight? Do you need a better bike? Do you need more support? Do you need a coach? Do you need to get to more races? Do you need more funding, right? Once you create that goal, you need to identify what resources you need, what resources that you don't have that you need. And then you made a great point to create smaller goals, right? These are objectives. Those are part of the resources I talked about, right? So maybe it's maybe I need to work on rhythm section. Maybe I need to work on my track speed, my fitness. Maybe I just straight up need to get stronger, right? So I can have raw power out of the gate and hang with the big boys. Someone like Drew Polk, who's on the young end of the 1720s. Drew, please forgive me. I know I'm picking on you, but man, you're a Nag 1 rider, and I Nag 1 riders, you don't win on accident, and I know that you want to do better than what you did this year, my man. So please forgive me if you think I'm just picking on you, but I think you're a great example, man, because you're right on the cusp. And I would say at the end of the day, man, you're going to want to work on some things. And at the end of the day, it's going to be key for you to create an aim. Hey, where am I going with this? 17 to 20. Where do I want to be in 3 to 5 years as a racer, right? That's going a little bit out there, right? But it's like, when you identify, you get to that point where you identify who you need to be to achieve the goals that you want. That's another level of creating goals. And that's another challenge I want all you guys that are serious about creating goals. Write this down. Who do I need to become to achieve the goal that I want? Right? Maybe even look around and model some people that have already achieved the goal that you want and find out what their characteristics are. I know I did that as a pro. I know that I wanted to compete for number 1 titles and World Cup titles and World Championships. And it's like, I remember I remember being in Orlando, and you know they used to do these mid-year series races, and you know it was like from January to like April, and I think there was, you know, maybe like 6 nationals, and they would do a quick short sprint to the Pro Series leader at that marker, and they would give away a prize. I remember in 1996, I was in the stands watching the pros. I didn't have no direction. I wasn't even making mains. I was struggling, and I remember just being so pissed off. I was like, why am I in the stands? Like, I should be out there competing. And I never lost sight of that. I went home. That gave me feedback. That gave me a burning desire. It helped me get clear, create a goal. I told myself, you know, come back next March or April. I want to be competing with the best guys going after these big prizes. And sure enough, I did it, man. I did it. I never lost sight of that vision. I wanted to be on the last straight battling these guys all the way to the finish line, literally. So I trained like that. I would look at the guys that were enjoying the success and stop looking at the guys and stop hanging out with guys that weren't enjoying success. Started surrounding myself with better people. Started surrounding myself. Listen, I don't know who said it, but you're pretty much, as a person, who you are today, you're only as good as the 5 best people that you hang around and surround yourself with. Okay? So it's time to start cutting people loose if they're not congruent with your path, if they don't support your path. Nonetheless, what I did was I modeled the person, and I wrote down, hey, this guy that won, what is he good at? What are some things that I can model? He's got a great first straight, great second pedal, awesome, superior last straight. So I worked on my second pedal and I worked on my last straight up. I needed that. Back then, we didn't have a whole lot of jumps. There was a lot more pedaling, man. Trust me, a lot more. And so I worked on my last straight pull, more so than my first straight pull. And I was dominant, man. I won straight up. High five. All right, so where else am I going here? Let's see. Anthony Grasher's always got good feedback for us. Let's see here. He says, setting goals for on and off the bike that are aimed at national events, having flexible thinking to stay motivated as you hit the goals so that you can make adjustments as you hit and sometimes miss. Yeah, Anthony, thank you so much. I think you hit the point on, you hit the nail on the head, man. Like, we're always going to be making adjustments, man. Our path is never linear. It's never from point A to point B. If I were to fly from San Diego to, say, Washington, D.C., listen, man, I'm gonna be undulating, you know, different airwaves. What am I talking about? What's the term for pilots? Basically segments of air, or basically navigating weather, for example, right? You may run into turbulence, and you're going to have to adjust the altitude or longitude, right? You're going to have to adjust. You're going to have to do an adjustment and then make a course correction. Get feedback. Okay, we're going to have to get feedback and make a course correction, right? We're always course correcting. That's the whole point of having an aim and something that's foreseeable, so we can always make a course correction, right? No such thing as failure, only feedback. Jacob James. Okay, I'm not going to pick on you, James. All right. Here's a goal. He says, here's a goal: to learn roller bunny hops and stalls. Okay, great. To learn roller bunny hops for what purpose? Is it something that's going to help you to achieve the goal that you want? If you're going to get faster, if you're going to work on your first straight, for what purpose? Because if you guys don't have a goal, working on the first straight, you'll do it 1 or 2 times and be done with it, and you've already forgotten about it. It's just like the New Year's resolutions that are going to be made here coming up in a week or 2. People are going to take action. People are going to join the health club. People are going to start a different diet, and then they're going to quit because they don't have an aim. They don't have clarity. They don't have a purpose. And it's not contextualized. They're not able to transcend themselves. Andy Lim Joko. Please forgive me. Is it Lim Hoko or Lim Joko? And I'm just going to call you Andy Lim. Andy Lim, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate you. No questions for me, Andy? Okay, you do have one. He says, thanks for sharing your knowledge and helping fellow BMXers. Hey, man, it's a pleasure. I love what I do. and I do what I love. Andy says, hoping to be in top 20 in 46 to 50 expert for 2021. Just turned expert at Northeast Gold Cup final. Okay, so Andy, I would say, if I may, can I be your coach here for a second? Thank you for the invite. He says, hoping to be top 20 in 46 to 50. So I think really at the end of the day, to get past hope, because hoping is being uncertain. And we talked about being clear and gaining clarity. So at the end of the day, what you would want to do is identify and just go for the gusto and identify what number you want to be. Is it 20? Is it 19? Is it number 9? Is it number 1? Which number do you want? Be specific. And then more importantly, gain clarity by creating a picture as if you already accomplished it. And if you get the picture, then you have vision. Vision is really simple. It's really as simple as creating a picture that you dream about. That's it. It's really simple. And once you do that, go ahead and start figuring out what resources that you need. But more importantly, identify the resources that you have. Do that first. Find out what resources you have. What reasons do you have, right? You have a bike. You have a coach. Maybe you have me. You have my videos. You have resources. I don't know. And then, start identifying what resources that you do need, right? Do you need to be stronger, right? Do you need to lose weight? Do you need to gain weight? Do you need a lighter bike? I don't know what you need, but you need to identify it. Thank you so much. What other questions do we have? We got a couple people talking to each other in the chat. Man, I went so long that we didn't even get into the Q&A here. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? All right. Someone says, is Facebook still a thing? Aaron Greenreich, hey Coach G, would you say that goals give you clarity on not only the actual goal, but the process? Yeah, man, I would say that at the end of the day, goals are going to not only give you clarity, but more importantly, the process is interesting, right? Because that's kind of like, the process is going to be dictated by identifying the resources that you already have and also the resources that you don't have, right? And then, of course, I would say once you identified your goals and you got clear, start taking action. Jump down the road. Start taking action, right? Write down your goals. You start doing that, then the resources are going to come to you, right? It's crazy, man. If you guys have ever done this, you guys have decided to get clear on a specific goal and you started taking action, you just started being intentful with it and you started operating out of the heart to get it. Have you ever noticed how easy it is for people to just come out of the woodwork and give you a helping hand? It's crazy. And at the same time, have you ever struggled, didn't have clarity, and you found yourself being a victim and saying, I wonder why they won't help me. How come they don't call me? How come they don't give me attention? How come they don't, I've been there too, man. And it's no good. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, create the goal. It will help you get clear, but more importantly, take action after that immediately. Don't do a whole lot of research. Just take action, right? Start going to the gym. Start sprinting. Start working on your skills. And you're going to find that you're going to have more than just motivation. You're going to have more than just willpower. You're going to have ambition. And when you have ambition, that vibration, man, people feel it. You know when someone is hungry. You know when someone is focused. They don't need to tell you they're focused. You know intuitively they're focused. So it's, that's pretty cool too. It's like, well, how will they know? Like, that's another question you can ask yourself and you can write down if you want to get super geeky about your goals. How will they know? How will they know that you're, that you're the person that you need to become to achieve the goals that you want, right? Maybe it's compliments. Like, this happens a lot when it comes to creating goals to lose weight. Oh man, you're going to hear things like, man, you're looking leaner, right? You're looking fit, or on your bike, you're looking faster. You're looking smoother. Your gait start's awesome, right? You're going to hear it. All right, so we didn't really get to the Ask Coach G thing. You know what? Let's just run it real quick, and then we'll go to the questions.
Stay focused, get ready now. For real, get ready now.
Nitro with the nice flow.
Stay focused, get ready now. For real, get ready now. Let's go. Stay focused, hear the heat come. Concentrate to the sound of the beat drum. Yeah. Start it up, take it back now. Check it out. This is how it's going down. Yeah.
All right, welcome back. Needed to take a quick break and run that. Let's see here. Roscoe H says, almost forgot to sign in, listening and weight training at the same time. Roscoe, man, you're taking action. Good for you, my man. Dat boy Mark 83. I love that. 1983 is when I started racing. That's probably when you were born. Any advice for weight training for a 15 novice intermediate? Yeah, man. Lifting weights will make you powerful, but no, straight up, what kind of advice would you like? What are you looking to achieve with weightlifting? Are you looking to get powerful? Are you looking to increase more strength, more speed? Are you looking to increase more power out of the gate? What are you trying to do? Weight training for what purpose? Let me know, and then I'll come back and answer your question. Some guys over here talking about, let's see here, David Fernandez. Welcome to the show, David. Any tips to get over the fear of not being able to ride without resting your finger on the brake? My goal is top 5 nag and 15 expert this year. Great goal. Awesome goal. For what purpose would you want to be able to not rest your finger on the brake? How is that a problem, David? Please tell me, and then let me know, and we'll go back and forth on that one. Carlos Salazar, Coach D, do you have any tips of letting your fear of not doing any technique on races, like manuals, jumps? What do you mean by that? Do you mean like, I'm not sure what you mean. Do you have any tips of letting your fear of not doing any technique on races? Like, I'm not sure if I understand that question. Please forgive me. If you can give me some clarity, Carlos, on that question, maybe I can help you. Andy Lim says, are there any specific exercises for second pedal strength, whether it be plyos or with weights? Yeah, I would say at the end of the day, the number one thing when it comes to second pedal strength is actually body positioning first, Andy. So body positioning, meaning when you execute that first stroke and your cranks are at the 6 p.m. I'm sorry, 6 p.m. I'm talking about the 6 and 12 o'clock position. Oh man, it's getting late. When your body's in that forward position, ideally your shoulders need to be over the handlebar grips, right? Your head slightly tucked down, and what's going to enable you to maintain that position really is through the core. So I would focus on that position first. Number one, core strength is going to help you. Number two, straight up, why not try doing box sprints with the opposite foot forward, already starting with your shoulders over the handlebar grips? It's going to be awkward, but that's a really great specific way to develop specific power straight up and strengthening that position. And so positioning is number one first. After that, you're talking about plyometrics. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Plyometrics are great. Love plyometrics. Even at the age of 46 today, I'm enjoying plyometrics. Strength, I would say unilateral work is really good. So, like single leg squats are my favorite. Anything like a barbell step up, dumbbell step ups, anything that will help you strengthen pedaling one leg at a time and being intentful with that. So what does that mean? Working on being powerful, right? Like it doesn't need to be too light, doesn't need to be too heavy. Maybe find a weight that's around 40 to 60% of your 1 rep max and just focus on speed of execution, right? Focus on being powerful. and that will help your second pedal be powerful. Hopefully that helped answer your question. Thank you so much. All right, so we're getting back to David. Let's see. David's original question was talking about any tips to get over the fear of not being able to ride without resting your finger on the brake. And then he came back and says, the times I have tried without it feel faster and feel like I have more control, but I get nervous. Okay, so for some reason you have this belief that having your finger on the brake means that you're going to be slower? Is that what you're telling me? I have a fear of looping out even though it's never happened. Okay. So you just need to reframe that and just tell yourself that, listen, it's okay to have your finger on the brake. I know some people have their finger on the brake, some people don't. You know, at the end of the day, when you get top nag 5 in the 15 expert class, it's not going to say David Fernandez, he keeps his finger on the brake. No, don't worry about it. Seriously, I think I'm not picking on you, but I think it's kind of silly, right? I think that's the last thing you need to worry about. If you need to have your finger on the brake so you could quickly react if you're looping out, or you need to tap your brake because, you know, maybe you're following someone too close in a turn and you want to dive underneath them. Listen, having your finger on the brake just means that you're 1% faster in reacting and being resourceful. That's it. You just need to reframe it. Having your finger on the brake doesn't mean you're slower. Okay? Unless you're just like, you know, unconsciously hitting your brake all the time. But I don't think you need to do that. Now, for some reason, if you feel like you feel faster without it, okay, well then you can feel faster with it. All right. Yeah, really interesting. Hopefully that helped, right? Just a simple reframe. You just have to figure out, you just need to reframe. Now, when I mean reframe, that means put a different meaning, right? Change the meaning of what having the finger on the brake means to you. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to sit here and beat yourself up like, oh man, I can't get my finger off the brake, this means I'm going slower, dude, you can forget about it. But if you could just say, you know what? Coach G says if I have my finger on the brake, that means I'm faster because I'm able to be resourceful and quicker, and because I can react faster, then that's okay too. It's okay. Listen, at the end of the day, David, the choice is yours. You could be fast with your finger on the brake or with it off the brake. You choose, okay? You choose. Do that now, please. Carlos says, who else thinks Coach G is underrated? For what purpose, man? Okay, let's see. Carlos says, like on practice, I can jump and stuff, but at races, you freeze up. Okay, thank you so much, Carlos, for giving more context. So basically, Carlos is telling me, and I'm reading words. Words are only 7% of communication, by the way. There's no body language or tone, so I can't. I'm really not getting everything here, right? And you know, I tend to read between the lines sometimes, and so and sometimes more times than other, I'm a literal listener. So I'm like Anyway, so Carlos says, how can he get over the fear of jumps while racing? Okay, is that your question? Would it be fair for me to say that's your question and I reframed it for you? And I would say at the end of the day, what you need to do is you need to figure out what your ideal performance mind state is, right? I would say either A, go out in the future, or B, go back in time, go back to a specific time when you had an awesome race where you had no fear and you got the result that you wanted, right? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? Get those feelings, anchor those feelings, and then you need to trigger those feelings, right? Trigger that anchor and get into that state before you get on the gate. That's it. It's really that easy. You just have to change your state. All right? Because what's happening is that now I'm going to throw a mind read out there, Carlos, but for the most part, this happens to most athletes. Not every athlete, but a lot of them. They get on the gate and all of a sudden they start looking around and they start overthinking. Oh man, there's this guy to my left, this guy to my right. This guy's faster than me. This guy may cut me off. I don't, have I ate my Wheaties? Am I strong enough? Do I have a good enough gait? Right? you start to overthink. The monkey mind starts going off. It starts to give you unresourceful thinking, unresourceful thoughts. Carlos, man, I don't know if you're good enough. Hey, man, you better be careful because you might crash. Right, dude, it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. So you got to be able to get out of that state of mind, get into a resourceful state of mind, right? And just stick with that, right? So you have to change your state. You have to change your mind state. That's what I do with my winner circle performance athletes, right? I'm able to give them their ideal performance mind state, and then they're solid all the time. We talk about it here all the time, right? You look at Olympians such as like Michael Phelps. He's able to get an ideal mind state. He isn't worried about the screaming fans in the stands and NBC and ABC and all these different televisions and the spotlight and the competition. And he gets into a state, he gets into a zone in which it's easy for him to access his best performance, right? It's that ideal comfortable zone. And so you have to identify what's your ideal comfortable zone and practice yourself getting into that state all the time. Now, it's easy for me to say, but it's a lot harder for you to take my words and try to just be like, okay, I'm just going to go do that. So, go to the store at BMX Training. I believe I offer a product to help out with mental performance. If you're really that serious and you want to get over the fear, I could help delete the fear because I'm a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and mental emotional release therapy. I know that's a lot. I can say that 3 times over, but I'm not going to do it to you. But basically what I'm trying to say is that if you have fear, I can pretty much straight up delete it and reprogram it for you. And I'll give you the ideal performance mind state. All right. Let's see here. Roscoe H. Carlos, finding a buddy to ride close to you while you're jumping in practice has helped me with the same problem, especially if they're more experienced. Roscoe, thank you so much for chiming in. Absolutely. That's another way you could do it, is just by repetition of getting comfortable. However, you still have to be able to access that state when you're in the gate, because what's going to happen is if you're comfortable in practice, but you get up in the gate and you're going to be triggered to being nervous, right? And it's like, I don't want you to be full of fear, because that is a negative motivator. So you need something that's more of a positive motivator, focusing on an outcome that you want instead of the outcome you don't want. That's another good one, right? Being resourceful like that is better. If you start focusing on what you don't want, listen, the unconscious mind doesn't understand negatives. It's going to go after that goal, right? It's just like when an athlete says, I don't know what I want to do at Grands. I don't know what I want to do when it comes to Phoenix. I just know I don't want to get motoed. Well, guess what? You're going to get motoed, dude. Like, your unconscious mind doesn't understand negatives. It's going to happen. So focus on what you want. Focus on the outcome. That's something else that I do with a lot of my clients. It's like, I deal with women, junior women that are looking to get identified with their national governing body to be, in an effort to make the Olympic team. These guys are going from regular tracks to get thrown right into the fire of Supercross starting hills. And the first jump is like a pro section to these guys, right? And they've never jumped pro sections with other traditional tracks. And so, I get them to focus on the outcome they want. I'm afraid of crashing. I just don't want to crash. Okay, great. Well, Carlos, what would you rather do instead? Oh, well, I want to jump it smoothly. Great. What else would you like to do? I want to be smooth. I want to be comfortable. I want to be excited, right? Start extracting all the feelings. Write the stuff down, man. I write stuff down. You could write stuff down. They write stuff down, and you could write stuff down too. You really have to just work it out. Okay. Carlos, my dad pays Cameron more to coach me sometimes. So not all the time. What, he just pays him intermittently? That's a great comment. He says, I went to Grands and got second and I got so excited. Awesome. Very good. Very, very good. Guys, we're reaching it's an hour and 7 minutes. I typically go 60 minutes, but you guys got me excited. Today's winter solstice and it's a holiday week. Let's see here. Jason Chang. Jason Chang is old school pro. Welcome to the show, Jason. He says here, I made the goal to be a national main maker. I kept that goal when I should have set after winning them. Ooh, Jason, thank you for sharing. Thank you so much for being honest. I love that. Yeah, we spoke about that in the beginning of the show, how a guy said he didn't like creating goals because sometimes you would just hit them. But, you know, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with dreaming big and creating big goals, right? As long as they're smart, as long as they're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, responsible, and you can identify a time when you need to get it done by, right? And creating a goal, creating a picture as if you already accomplished it, making sure you're stating it in the positive, making sure that it is a positive motivator, making sure that you're taking action. All right. Guys, I'm running out of water. What else do we have? I'll take another question. Let me see. Let me scroll up here and see if there's any other questions that I may have missed. Or any comments that someone wants to share. Here we go. Tyler Ankinfrio. I have never seen your name before, but thank you so much for showing up to the show and asking a question and being courageous in doing so. Tyler says, I just started racing over the summer, but am already halfway through intermediate and I'm writing clips. Do you know if there's anything I should do in a race, like maybe a pedal manual? Sure, man. I mean, you know, if you believe that a pedal manual will help you, absolutely. A couple things about pedal manualing. Number one, if you do the pedal manual, is it going to be helpful? Or is there going to be any power behind that pedal manual? Or is it going to be empty calories, meaning you're just pedaling, but you're not really getting any power sustained or, you know, pressure on the pedals, right? Are you able to sustain that in terms of power, in terms of applying pressure on the pedals? Number two, are you able to do it consistently? Because if you can't do it consistently, then just don't do it all. I would say at the end of the day, the best technique is the one that you can consistently pull off in a race. That's the best technique. You know, there was a guy back in the day, an awesome pro, a hero of mine. His name is Steve Veltman. Some of you guys that are older may have heard of him. I know Jason has heard of him. And not only was he a hero, but of mine when I was growing up as an old amateur, but I also turned pro and I was able to race one of my heroes. And he was a guy that was always looking for that marginal gain to beat the competition and not realizing that he wasn't already enough. The dude was like the perfect specimen of a power athlete. He could play, if he was in the NFL, he'd be an all-pro linebacker, right? Power, skills, just a perfect balance of strength and finesse, right? He was a performer. In fact, he won the national #1 amateur and cruiser the same year in the ABA. Anyways, he was always looking for these goofy 1 to 2% marginal gains in terms of gaining an advantage over the competition on the track by like speed jumping things that were ridiculous. It was like he was like speed jumping like, I don't know, like excuse me, like a 6 foot tall double that was just easier to jump, and he would like pick up manual it, but he can only pull it off like 60-70% of the time. The times when he did pull it off, he would have a 2 bike length lead afterwards. So, but the problem was at 60-70%, it wasn't worth it. He made the finals, but the problem is he blew up in the second main. He picked up for it and blew up, got 8th place. And it wasn't worth it. If he would have just jumped it, he probably would have got 1st or 2nd. And so the story is like, I got to slow down because my mind, it just takes off. I took that as a lesson. I said, you know what? It's best to just be consistent, because being consistent, especially over time, you're going to accomplish your goals. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be your coach. You guys have a wonderful week. Have an awesome holiday week. If you guys are into Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you guys leave some cookies out, Santa Claus may show up and dreams do come true. Magic is real. You guys, create some goals. Let me know in the comments below if you guys found this helpful. If you guys are watching this on the replay, make sure that you guys leave a comment. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the bell notification. And also, you guys, leave a comment below and let me know how you guys are accomplishing your goals. What's your process? What's your strategy? Because what I spoke about isn't for everybody, but it's for a lot of people, and you guys may find that it will work for you. Cool. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Let's see. Dylan says happy holidays. Brady says thank you. Carla says bye, coach. Joey says YOLO. Okay. Mark says thank you and Merry Christmas. Dylan says, okay, he's talking to someone else. Andy Lim, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I'm grateful for you. Merry Christmas to you as well. And yes, I'm signing off. I'll see you guys next week. You guys have an awesome weekend. Keep recommitting to your goals, okay? Recommit every day. It's not just commitment, it's recommitment. Coach G, and I'm out.